Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna solve the daily Leetcode problem of August 4th challenge. So the problem name is mirror reflection. So the problem is there is a special square room with mirrors on each of the four walls except the southwest corner. There are receptors on each of the remaining corners numbered 0, 1 and 2. The square room has walls of length p and laser ray from southwest corner first meets the east wall at a distance q from the zeroth receptor, and given two integers p and q, we need to return the number of receptors that the ray meets first. The test cases are generated so that the ray will meet a receptor eventually. So as you can see in the first case, the q is 1 and p is 2, so it meets a 2. So we can generalize this concept like first of all, like let me show you some like what I'm gonna do. So basically, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna stack these cubes one above the another, and I will allow the light beam to pass over the ceiling of the each room, and we will note down the number of extension of the rooms which we need to make. Let's name it extension, and number of reflections we need to make. The reflections will be like in this case, the reflections are two. That the first one is from here to here, and the second one is from here to here. So there will be a relation extension star p would be equal to reflection star q, and if extension extension is even, extension is even and reflection is odd, then I'm just gonna, like in the first case what we can see that extension and reflection is equal to reflection is equal to 2 and extension is equal to 1. So it's like if extension is odd and reflection is even, then return I'm gonna return 2, and if extension is odd and reflection is also odd, then I'm gonna return 0. And in the first case, gonna return 1. And how we will try to like if both are even, then it's not possible that the light beam reaches the reflector. So let me just so so how we are gonna find the extension and reflection? We are just gonna use a simple while loop. First, I'm gonna initialize extension by equal to p and reflection equal to q, and then I'm gonna, when extension mod 2 is equal to 0 and extension, again in the case when both are even there, then we can't, it will not reach the receptor. So I'm just gonna increase the I'm just gonna decrease the number of extension and number of reflections by 2 in the each iteration, and when we are out of the loop, then if extension mod 2 is equal to 0 and extension mod 2 is equal to 1, then I'm gonna return 1. Like I'm just copy pasting these conditions. Then I'm gonna, this is 1 and this is 0, and I'm gonna return 2. And in the third case, I'm gonna return, both are odd, so I'm gonna return a 0. So return -1 is just so that Leetcode doesn't give an error. So there is a problem, I guess. Let me check. So when the number of extensions is even and the number of reflections is odd, we will reach to the 0 rather than 1, and when both are odd, we will reach to the 1. That's the problem. So it's like already also giving error. Let me recheck my hypothesis. So I'm just gonna make two changes. Is not equal to 1. Is not equal to 0, so it will be equal to 1. And this is also not equal to 0, so that will be equal to 1. So let me check if it works. It is not working. So the error is the initial number of extensions is equal to q, and the reflection is initial number of reflections is p. At max we are gonna do this, and now it's working fine. Let me submit the code. So it's working fine. So let me now sum up the method to you. So we are just gonna initialize number of extensions and number. You are getting it now, like the, if you are not getting the meaning of extensions and reflections, then do let me know in the comment box. So number of extensions is basically how many box we have to put in above the initial box, so that the beam will reach a reflector, and reflection is basically number of reflections it need to make to reach the receptor. So it's basically the number of times it hits a wall or a reflector. So initially the number of extensions q, we need to stack q boxes together, and then the number of reflections will be equal to p, and until both of them are odd, or either one of them is odd. If both of them are even, then we will not be able to, the beam will not be able to reach any receptor. And if one of them becomes odd, then we will come out of the loop. At each iteration, we are just uh, coming down to the half number of extensions and half number of reflections. And if extensions is even after one of them has become odd, at least one of them has become odd. So if extensions is even and number of reflections is odd, then we are gonna hit the zeroth reflector. If number of extensions is odd and number of reflections is zero, number of reflections is even, then we are gonna hit the second reflector. And if both of them are odd, then we are gonna hit the first reflector. Thank you for watching my channel. Do like and subscribe.